Hello everybody, what is up? My name is CheapScissors and I'm bringing you another Realm Royale video. This is a follow-up of the last Realm Royale video. It is the update following the really bad one. If you didn't see the last video, I recommend you go check it out in the link below or in the card above. So just click either one of those and it'll bring you right to it. Last thing before I start this video, I want you guys to go check out my Twitch channel in the link below. Here's a quick clip from one of my streams. To figure out how it happened. What the hell was that? What? I bounced off his face. Oh, I gotta kill him now, dude. He can't do that to me, live. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. We'll see. Oh, no way. Thank you, hitboxes. Bro, if you can just walk out here, I'll jump on you, okay? You cool with that? Yes. Dude, he probably has heals too. Oh, lucky butt. Oh, okay, you're gonna glitch me again. Okay, dude. Just keep on glitching my game. This dude's out to get me. Fuck you. Dude, that is so unfortunate. If you guys enjoyed that, be sure to go to the link in the description on my Twitch and be sure to follow. I'll actually be streaming tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, so be sure to check it out. Link in the description. Alright guys, now into the juicy stuff. They finally fixed Realm Royale, they made an update, and they actually did a pretty good job in my opinion. Now, the issue they were trying to combat, I don't know if it's fixed, and we're going to get into why later, but I do think that we're in the right direction now. We're taking steps in the right direction. So, if you didn't see the last video and don't care to watch it, recap, they removed crafting legendary weapons, which completely unbalanced the game because the way they added obtaining legendary weapons was completely RNG from any chest on the map. And of course, legendary weapon drop chests, but still, complete RNG and destroyed the game. But with this new update, they've implemented a system that works really well in my opinion. I really enjoy it. It not only makes up for the last patch, but I actually think the game's more fun than it was 2 patches ago when everything was more stable than the last one. So I'm actually really happy about this update, but there's still some things to be talked about. The very first thing that I still think is an issue with HiRez and I still think needs to be addressed is that we aren't getting any communication. They posted some Twitter pictures showing what the new features will be, and I appreciate that a lot, you know, during the development when it's not released. But when they released the update, we don't have any patch notes. We don't know if any guns were changed, we just know the crafting system was changed, and that might have been the only thing that was changed, but if it's not, I'd like to know. The most recent patch notes is the one from the broken update, and I think that that also will cause issues for them, because when people go to the Steam store page, they'll only see that patch and they won't know it was changed and fixed. And when we go in-game to click the patch notes button on the menu, we don't even see that update. We see the update previous to that one. So they really need to get together as far as being, you know, consistent at least with the information they're presenting, if not more communicative. Now I'm going to go through this video assuming that the only updates to the game are to the crafting system and the forges. So if I'm wrong about that, someone please comment below and tell me, and I'll try to update the information that I put out as fast as possible. The only actual official information I have is through Twitter posts and releases via the Realm Royale developers, so I'm going to go over that and go over what was changed. So, as everyone expected, and of course as HiRez had to do without getting more scrutiny from the community, you can now craft legendary weapons again. The catch is that they're going to cost you a lot more. You're going to have to do a lot more before you can get your legendary class weapon. With that said, you can now get a legendary weapon that is not class specific for the same price as legendary class weapons before. So that's going to be 120 shards and 1 chicken trophy. With that change, you're going to have to spend a lot more on your legendary class weapon. It's going to cost you 200 shards, so the amount that you max out at, the amount you can't go over, you're going to have to spend all of that. So when you get full shards, all of those are going towards your class weapon. And not only that, but you need 2 chicken trophies. So this means that to get your legendary class weapon, you're going to have to get max shards and kill 2 people, or at least loot their corpse. Also, with the increased amount of chicken trophies needed to craft, you're going to have a maximum chicken trophies of 3 now. Before it was only 1, you could only have 1, and so you could divvy them up between your team, but now you can shark your team and get 3 if you guys take out another team, so keep that in mind. Aside from these changes, everything else in the forge is going to stay the same price as it was before. So some things to think about with this new forging mechanic is if you're playing squads and you drop in a place where there aren't a lot of people, you're going to be rolling into the next town without a legendary weapon possibly. Because of the raised cost of legendary class weapons, if you guys want to be really equipped, it's going to be more beneficial to hot drop and to drop in high population places, even though the risk is higher because you're going to come out with more, especially with the higher cost of all the things to craft. Now, in my personal experience in this gameplay that you're seeing right now, obviously, and just in my general solo games, it doesn't affect almost anything. I can get the legendary class weapon and armor and ability pretty easily because I wipe the whatever town I'm in, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be the same in duos and squads. Because there's going to be less teams per place, they're going to be more spread out, and that means that you might only kill 1 or 2 squads if you're lucky, and you might not even be able to get one of those chicken trophies. So just be wary that you're not going to be getting as good weapons going into the battles, and it's going to encourage you to craft more armor and abilities, which is what HiRez was aiming to do with the last patch. So I think they're going in a right direction to combat the issue they saw. Personally though, I really think that for high level players this is only going to affect squads, because if you're playing duos or solos, there's going to be enough people where you drop and you're going to be able to take on enough fights that if you win, you're going to come out with enough loot to start making a full set of everything in the forge. Another point that I want to bring up that was brought up by my friend Ponage is that he wasn't that upset about the last update. He didn't think that the RNG part was as fair, but he wasn't upset about the class weapons because he personally didn't find a great use of them. Now obviously if he got them he'd use them, but he didn't think that they were overpowered or game changing. And for him, being able to craft a legendary weapon and perhaps get a slug rifle or, you know, a shotgun legendary is going to be just as much for him as an axe would do, and he's not too worried about getting his legendary weapon. And for people who can play with the general weapons, especially stuff like slug rifles or crossbows or, you know, shotguns or things like that that are currently pretty powerful, you could go into endgame without needing your legendary class weapon. And this is a great point to bring up because you're probably not going to go into endgame with everyone having their legendary class weapons in a squads game. It's probably not going to happen. But if you learn how to utilize these common weapons not only in the lower tiers but also on legendary level, you're going to be a much greater asset to your team for being able to utilize these weapons and not need to craft your legendary weapon. I think that's going to be a huge part in competitive play, and I think it's also going to be impactful in just normal pub games as well. A good comparison in my opinion about this is if you think of Counter-Strike, there's always a team opper, there's always a really stellar opper on professional teams. But they also have to be able to use AKs, you have to be able to use pistols, M4s, etc. because you're not always going to have the op, you're not always going to have the resources to buy an ops and, you know, benefit the team in that way. And so it's the same thing in Realm Royale. If you can't always get your sniper, you can't always get your stone spear, if you're going to be able to use slug rifles or shotguns or other weapons in the game, you're going to help your team out a lot, and that's going to be really important for overall players, even if you're really good with the sniper, really good with the bow. Next on the list of things to talk about that isn't related to this update, but the last one that I didn't really mention in my last video, is that they did a lot of map improvements that I think really helped the game. Previously, there were a lot of choke points on the map and a lot of empty spaces on the map that didn't help the game in any way, and it just made it a little bit slower and a little bit sluggish, and I didn't like these, and they definitely fixed a lot of them. An example is the Mountaineer Crossing. You used to need abilities to get up on that because it was just a bunch of chunks of rock, and now they smoothed it out and made it all actual terrain, so that worked really well. The other thing they made major changes to is the Ice Haven areas. The places up north next to Northport that turn icy, they have a new, you know, sort of burial ruins town area there that has pretty good loot overall. I mean, it's kind of spread out, but it's also just more stuff that you can go to, more stuff that you'll find players in, better fights in, and it's not just an open ice field, because that was a terrible place. Like, you'd see a chest fall over in that area before, and you just be like, oh fuck it, I'm not going for that because there's nothing to do over there. Now you actually have things around you. Speaking of the map, HiRez, I don't know if they actually worked on this directly with IGN or if it was just an IGN project, but it's definitely something super cool. IGN has this map software on their website where the people can, in the community, map out different maps of games, and so you can now look at all the different loot on the different spots of the Realm Royale map. You can also see different terrain, you can see where forges are, you can see what loot can drop what, etc. And this is only going to be expanded upon, and I'm sure when they make more maps, if they do, that will also be on this website. So I'm super excited because I was actually thinking about making something similar myself, but I wouldn't have done it nearly as well. So I'm really happy about this. I recommend you check it out in the link below. Super cool. Overall, this update has been positive, but there are some things that I still don't like about the current game, so I'm going to discuss those. They came in the last update, and I also think that the format of this update was similar to the last one in that there's not a whole lot of communication, and I think that they still have some work to do on that end. So first off, I think something that was addressed by a lot of more competitive players and more intense players was the hitboxes on some of the guns that were changed in the last update. Here's a clip from Summit's stream that really highlights why this is such an issue.
With it. Like so. Yeah, no chance you're winning that, even with a crossbow, brother. Took too many hits. Nice hitbox, I'm telling you, dudes. I don't know why they do it, man. It's like, why are you guys breaking your game when you already did that? We've had this run-in already with crossbows, or with the bows. So I don't know, like, why we'd revisit the same problem we had with hunters. Just make it so it takes skill to shoot each other again. I don't really know why they decided to dumb it down. Like, I feel like you should have learned your lesson from the hunter. Turning everyone else up after that is just like, what? Why would you make the bullets bigger on other people again? After the fucking bow was so goddamn broken. For the casuals?
I understand that because of the properties of different guns, you might need to make colliders bigger or make the hitboxes different for different weapons. But with that being said, you cannot tell me that this is good for any sort of competitive game. And you can't tell me that this is even good for a casual game because it's not fair. It's just straight up not fair when you can hit someone behind a wall that is completely concealed. Now, like I said, I haven't had too much time to test the game, but they haven't provided any other information on the update except for the forge changes. And from my gameplay, I feel like it's the same, but I haven't had extensive time to test it, so I can't be sure. And that brings me to my next point and final point overall about the update. We still aren't getting a lot of information about the updates. Like, even if you have to give us stuff like improved, that's a lot better than not knowing anything. We don't have any information about this update except for Twitter posts during development and a small, sort of not very encompassing tweet on the release of the update. I want to know if any guns have been changed, and I don't think they have, but I don't know because there's nowhere that even says anything about it. So I think that that's something to improve on by them, but besides that, great update. Overall the game's getting way better. For the amount of negativity I had in the last update, which keep in mind wasn't directed at HiRez or at the game itself, but at the state of it and the communication and the format of the update. But overall, it's crazy how fast this game is growing, how fast it's improving, and how fast it's getting exponentially better. I have more fun overall with each update, not last one obviously, but overall the changes that they're making are really good and it's moving in a really good direction in my opinion, and I can't wait to see what's next. So I'm super excited. This has been a great update. I can't wait to play it much. And like I said, I'm streaming tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So be there or be square. And I think that might wrap up this update video. I'm thinking of releasing a video with this update in mind, how to best strategize in solo, duos, and squads, those all being separate videos. Because obviously there's a lot more strategy involved with what you should craft, how you should craft, what classes should craft what first, because of the more limited access to higher level weapons. Tell me if you guys would like to see these videos in the comments below, and tell me if you want me to talk about solos, duos, or squads. I'm definitely going to make one of them if I get a lot of good feedback and good reception on the idea, but tell me which one you want to see. I think that's all I have to talk about today, so I want to thank you all for watching so much. I also want to thank you all for all the great feedback and all the positive reception from the last video. I know the rant video had some negative points in it. Overall, I wanted it to be a positive video on what we can do to fix things. I didn't want it to be, I'm not trying to bash HiRez, but it seemed like a lot of people had the exact same feelings, and I expressed what they were thinking very well, or at least according to them I did. And so I want to thank you guys so much for all the positive reception. I grew I think almost 100 subscribers within the last 4 days because of it, and it has over 5,000 views now. So I really appreciate all the support, and I'm gonna be making a lot more Realm Royale videos in the future. So if you like this one, if you like the last one, be sure to subscribe, be sure to like the video, and until next time, peace out.